Tales from a Scouting Life. This one goes back to this Super Bowl that I was a participant in, Super Bowl 31.
Bragger.
This is what, Packers Patriots?
Packers Patriots.
The only team to ever beat the Patriots.
Yeah.
In history, pretty much.
The second team.
Other than the Giants and a bunch of other teams. But the Patriots win too damn much, so they needed to take an L that day.
This was a Bill Parcells led Patriots team, so that was what's great about it, though.
Do you ever tell him about it?
Oh, no, I reminded him.
I beat you, Bill.
Yeah, I beat you in
I know you're firing me, but I beat you in the Super Bowl, brother.
You're 0-1 against me, Tuna Man. Yeah.
That'd be great.
But this is a story, and the Super Bowl was in New Orleans that year.
Oh, did you?
No, I was good.
Okay.
I didn't do anything crazy.
Day before?
No,
2 nights before?
No, man. I went out to dinners and stuff like that. A bunch of my friends came down for the game, and it was a lot of fun to have them there and be a part of that and the party afterwards. But this story takes place of what happened in the locker room pre-Super Bowl. And it once again involves our good buddy Jim McMahon, who was a backup. I've told some stories before about Jim McMahon.
Great stories revolve around Jim.
Jim has a lot of stories. Jim has a lot of stories from the Bears, a lot of stories from...
Not sure he can remember them all these days. He's kind of struggling, isn't he?
He's struggling a little bit.
Did McMahon have a pill thing or a drink thing?
No, he just had a lot of drinking thing, and then he's
So Jim was drinking and Brett was popping.
Yeah, we had a lot going on with our quarterbacks. I don't know what
the substance abuse room.
Yeah, I don't know what Doug Peterson's problem was. I don't think Doug had anything wrong with him.
Probably HGH. He has a huge face.
He does have a huge face. But anyway, this is like we're getting ready for the Super Bowl, getting ready for the game, and we're in the locker room, and we're all kind of sitting there. And locker rooms usually are very before big games are quiet. Guys are to themselves and
uptight a little bit. Can be, right?
Yeah, you just don't want to. There's guys that get sick. They go in there, you can hear them getting sick. You're constantly like going, okay, as long as that guy gets sick, we're in good shape because he gets sick before every big game.
You're talking about out of the mouth, not
the men's room, like like throwing up sick.
Yep. Okay.
Some guys really want it silent. And if the star player wants it silent, you don't want to be louder.
You don't want to be loud or anything around. You just don't want it because guys get ready different ways, and so it was a quiet locker room to start out with. And then all of a sudden, McMahon, Jim McMahon's sitting on the bench there, and he's across the room from Favre. Like Jim's on one side of the locker room, and Brett's on the other side with Doug Peterson. The quarterbacks are kind of split up. And McMahon's got a ball in his hands. He's kind of just tossing a ball in the air, and everybody's kind of, just moving around, doing what they have to do. And all of a sudden, McMahon fires the football at Favre's nameplate on the top of his locker.
Just randomly?
Just randomly.
Huh.
Like quiet lock. And then, he just rears back and just hums this ball. And he hits Favre's nameplate on his locker.
We don't know the motivation behind the throw.
We have no idea.
Kind of rebellious.
It's like he's sitting there. He's just looking at it. He's just kind of sitting there looking at Brett's nameplate. And
was he jealous at all or envious?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he was he had a weird way of knowing what everybody was kind of going through. It's like he'd been there 10 years before with the Bears, in the same situation and all that. Against the Pats. And so
I've been here before, guys. I know what we need to get ready. I know what we need
to do. Yeah. So Jim rears back, he hums this ball. It hits Favre's nameplate on his locker.
That's good accuracy.
Yeah. And it just blows the nameplate completely up in the air. So Favre's looks at him like, what the heck? So he gets the ball. He's got a ball.
Nice shot. I'm going to get yours.
Yeah. So now he's humming the ball at McMahon's nameplate.
And the Super Bowl starts when?
Super Bowl, we're 20 minutes from going onto the field.
Okay.
I mean, we're literally, we're waiting for them to tell us, okay, line it up. We're going to announce the teams, and Pat Summerall is going to get. Here we go, and everybody's kind of looking, and he blows that nameplate off, and then Favre was like, oh, okay. So Favre throws at McMahon's nameplate. Well, the ball bounces off the wall and like hits like Robert Brooks. You know, it's just.
And then you guys decided to start McMahon because Favre missed
he was
the
more
play.
act the first play of the game. Yeah,
you don't got it today, bro.
You don't got it, man. I've quarterbacked this stuff. I know what's going on.
We're going with the hot hand.
So like all of a sudden it's like it turns into. Okay, now let's see who else's nameplates we can blow off the top of the.
A little competition.
It's a competition.
Little target practice.
So McMahon is throwing at the side of. He's throwing at Favre's side of the locker room, and Favre and Peterson are throwing back. So I mean, literally. But these guys, all of a sudden, Favre does find his accuracy. Like he's knocking down nameplates, and Favre can throw the ball hard.
Like he's at the county fair.
Oh yeah,
dropping ducks.
Like he's trying. Yeah, he's trying to knock the milk bottles off the thing. Throw that thing. So Favre's now getting it, and he's knocking off nameplates. Well, now the team is really into it. Like everybody's like, yeah, go for it, get him, yeah, get him. And it's.
Did you have a third string quarterback?
That was Peterson.
Oh, okay.
So Peterson's like throwing too.
Okay.
So now the quarterbacks are into it, and guys are cheering, and the balls are just bouncing all over the. Guys are like trying to tape up or look at their playbook one last time.
But you got to keep your head on a swivel.
But you got to keep your head on the swivel because you're gonna get a Paul Tagliabue ball in the side of your head.
Yeah, if I'm Brett, I don't care because nobody's going to touch me. But if I'm backup quarterback and an errant ball flies, like as Jim McMahon, I probably don't care. But as Doug, I'm like, man, I don't want to accidentally get in a situation here I can't resolve.
Yeah, but it was funny because everybody was cheering.
Really?
It's like, come on, get him. Yeah, get him. So then all of a sudden, like, Mike Holmgren walks in.
Okay.
And Holmgren,
party's over.
Yeah, he's the head coach.
I don't know.
Well, he's the head coach, of course, of the team. And he's like, well, he's like looking around, what the hell's, going on? And as he's like saying, what the hell is going on? Like McMahon rears back and like he fires one across, like, while Mike's sitting there with like looking around with this, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And McMahon's like, move out of the way, Mike. He's like, he fires one all the way across the room, tries to hit Edgar Bennett's nameplate off the, the ball's bouncing around. And it really, Mike's trying to get control of the locker room, and nobody's
it's like the substitute teacher walked in, not the head coach.
Exactly. And so, like, I'll tell you what, the NFL did a heck of a thing. Like, your nameplate is like a special. I mean, when the game's over, you slide it off the locker, you take it home. It's got your name. It's got the Packer logo. It's got the Super Bowl 31 logo. I mean, it's a special thing. But like Favre and those guys are cracking them. I mean, they're cracking these. They're cracking these nameplates off the locker. But nobody's saying anything except Holmgren. And then he was like, he was losing his mind. But the team, it was just Jim's way of kind of getting everybody loosening people up.
Yeah, very important.
And it was. Yeah. And one of my, if everybody remembers too, my story after that game, that Jim wore a headband. That was his thing. He always wore a headband. Remember in the Super Bowl, he had the one that said Roselle.
So Brett fires a ball and knocks his headband off by hitting him slap in the forehead.
No, Jeff, you'd appreciate this though. For Jim, I used to have to carry a can of Copenhagen and a dry headband with me on the sidelines. Like in case he had to play, he needed a dry headband. But most of the time, he needed a dip of Copenhagen.
Like Larry Allen, Romo got that dip.
He would come over to me. I knew it. Like there were certain times during the game, like okay, it's the end of the first. Jim's going to come over and get a dip, and I'd go find him, and he'd like stick his hand out, and I'd give him the can. Then he'd hand it back to me. But after that game, everybody's celebrating in the locker room, and I walk up to him, and I take out the Copenhagen and the headband. And I say, I gave him the Copenhagen. I said, Jim, can I have this headband as a souvenir? And he looked at me and he goes, bro, here. He gave me the one that he wore in the game. The last headband he ever wore in an NFL game. Like awesome. as a souvenir. He's like,
still have it?
Yeah, I still do. He's like, thanks for taking care of me all year.
Yeah, let that be a lesson to you. If you are the tobacco delivery man, people will love you.
Yeah. If you're the guy that's always got a dip, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
If you've got the can of Copenhagen, people will love you. But he did. I gave him the one back, and he says, here, you got the last one. And he took it off his head and he handed it to me, and I stuck it in my pocket. And I'm like, man, I really do appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, I just wanted and he goes, nah, you got the last one.
That's cool.
So I mean, that was something like in the when he was playing, that was his big thing of the headbands and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
It was his brand. It was his look.
It was his look. Yeah, it really was.
Did he razz Favre like I could do it better, or you missed that one?
Yeah. Well, what was so funny was, I don't know if I ever told the story about.
Like, bro, I'm high. Try that on.
Did I ever tell you the stories about the meetings we would have when Jim would be looking like at Hustler magazine or something like that? Like.
And there's jockstrap.
Well, no, he'd be in the meeting. He would be in the meeting, and Marty Morningwig, the coach, would go, Jim, what coverage is that? And Jim would be looking at the magazine and go, Marty, it's covered too, and if you ask me again, I'm going to beat your ass. and so Marty would never ask him another question. Jim would just kind of keep thumbing through the magazine, but he would always get on Favre. He would always have fun with Favre, and it was great for Favre because he'd come over to the sidelines, and Jim was like serious, but he was like, bro, you're carving their ass up today, man. That's impressive what you're doing to these guys. But Jim was always that good guy to have on your team because he just cared. He was a great teammate.
Yeah,
and everybody loved being around him. And he was a special guy, but that was a special team again to win the Super Bowl. But the fact that here we are 20 minutes for the game and he is blowing nameplates off lockers and everybody's getting fired up about it, and then you go out there and get a victory.